Anyway, welcome to the show. Orange flavoured pipe machine. Sinefm, John Kelly here with you until 10 o'clock. On the show tonight, we have an interview with Larry&Creature. You may remember we featured one of his tracks a few weeks ago on this show. We caught up with him earlier in the week, and he told us all about his unique blend of sci-fi, horror, garage rock from the beating bloody heart of Scunthorpe. So that's coming up after 9 o'clock, along with some more material from him. We've got Larry&Creature up next. I caught up with Larry earlier on in the week where we had a little chat. A few months ago he sent me some details of his material via SoundCloud. I'm really impressed, and we played a few bits on the show, and I offered him a chance to come on and talk about his musical output. This is Larry&Creature with The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
This is 102.6 Sinefm.
So you're listening to the Orange Flavoured Pipe Machine on Sinefm. Joining us now is Larry from Larry&Creature. Who've just played his track, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Welcome to the show, Larry. Thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, thanks, man. It's good to be on the show.
Can I just ask you, first of all, about your music? Because it sounds like a very sort of personal project. There's a lot of influences in there that kind of stretch outside of music in terms of sort of film and science fiction and things like that. Does that kind of tap into your interests anyway?
Oh, yeah. It's like, it kind of... my main influences are kind of like horror movies and sci-fi movies and stuff. And
I guess so.
Even a little bit of like spirituality and stuff like that. But it's just an amalgamation of things I've sort of collected on my travels, really, you know. But it's sort of my muse as well. I use like horror movies and stuff to like influence me to like, you know, write and stuff as well.
Yeah.
You know?
So how long have you been producing music for?
Well, I mean, I've been playing for a while in a couple of bands and stuff, and but this actual like project, Larry&Creature, I've only been doing for just under a year, like altogether, really.
Well, not too long then, but there's loads of material on your SoundCloud page, so you're very prolific in terms of your output.
Yeah, well, if I don't write, you know, I'd sort of like end up doing nothing, so I just try and write a lot, you know.
Excellent. So are you still watching movies and sort of getting inspiration for that?
All the time, yeah. I like discovering new ones that I haven't seen, and it sort of like, you know, puts me in a vibe where I can write again. I can write without them, but like I don't know, it puts me in the sort of mood and vibe that I kind of want to get from the music as well. So
what I liked about listening to those tracks is you seem to be going right back to that kind of the origins of garage rock and those sort of bands that maybe did a similar kind of thing and had those similar kind of influences, like, you know, horror comics and Hammer horror and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, it's funny you say that because, like, I like a lot of that stuff, but also the old horror comics from the 50s, like EC Comics and stuff, like, really influenced me, just as much as the movies and stuff. But I like a lot of those old bands and stuff, like psychedelic rock and garage rock and stuff, and, like, even some electronic stuff, like, that leans towards that type of stuff as well.
Oh, interesting.
But that's kind of my favourite music, really, you know.
Yeah. So is it just you that produces this music then, Larry?
Yeah, I just play guitar and program the drum machine and do the vocals, and I record it on like an old, kind of a beaten up old digital 8 track, but it works for the sound because they don't need it to be too polished, you know. I also find like the limitations of it as well sort of like help me. It like puts me in a nice box, if you know what I mean, like a nice way of creating, you know, because I don't like to have too many options, you know.
They always say that the limitations enable you to be more creative, and if you go back to those bands in the 60s we're just referring to, they had very little to play with, didn't they? But some of the sounds of those bands are amazing. Yeah,
like the Sonics and stuff, they recorded on a 2-track, and that, you know, that's like one mic in the middle of the room, basically, like, and that sounds amazing to me, you know.
Incredible. So is all this done sort of in a room in your house, or do you use a special studio?
Yeah. No, I don't use a special studio. I just literally like set it up in my room and just try and do it that way, you know. Yeah. So I can't afford a studio or anything.
so just you at the moment. Do you have any plans to bring some musicians in and do some live performances or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got maybe I might bring on some musicians, but I've also been practicing a way of performing it live with like just going through a mixer and having the drum machine and guitar and my vocals just going through a mixer and playing out of one amp. Right. And so I can actually get all the sound I really need. If I put my guitar on a sort of bassy level, I can actually emulate the sounds of it fairly easy. And but I think I am planning on getting some gigs. I've been talking to a few people, so I think as and when I do, I'll just probably be putting them on SoundCloud as and when I'm, you know, going to do them, so people can know where I'm going to be.
You'll
have
to keep in touch with us about those. And I was really pleased to find out you're only just around the corner in Scunthorpe.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So you're Scunthorpe lad then?
Yeah, I am. Always have been, yeah, for sure.
And you've been in other bands locally as well, you were telling me before?
Yeah, 1 or 2 bands. I mean, really, a few of them, most of them sort of never really made it out of the garage and stuff, and if they did, it was kind of a bit, you know, here and there. But like the last band I was in sort of got around a little bit, you know, and sort of did some gigs and that, quite a few gigs actually. But
is it easier producing music for yourself now, or
yeah, well, that's part of it. It's just complete like what do you call it, like intellectual sort of property freedom sort of thing, where you don't really have any, you can't, well, the only arguments you have is with yourself,
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
We're going to play another track of yours in a moment's time, but just tell us about that one we just played, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Where does that come from? Again, it sounds like a very sort of 50s inspired ghost story or something, or the Twilight Zone.
It is kind of, actually both these songs are both inspired by films that are already out there, but I mean, there was, this one's like it's a true story about like a guy that went around sort of killing people in this town in the 50s or 40s, and they never caught him and stuff, and so it's just kind of about that.
Yeah.
But this other one that's coming up is it could be treated as a sort of like a soundtrack to the film Night of the Demon, which is one of my favourite horror films of all time.
Same here, one of mine. Jacques Tournier.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, and it's just basically one of the greatest directors of all time, I think, and it's a really, really good movie. People should check it out.
If there's anybody listening to this and they haven't seen that movie, you really do need to check it out. And it is in black and white.
It's my favourite.
But it's got a very, very kind of eerie feel about it as it progresses throughout the show.
Oh, all the way through. I haven't watched another film that has the same feeling as that ever.
Yeah. There's a lot to be learned from those old pictures, I think.
Yeah, and the music too, for sure, back then.
So you've got an album coming up then, and Night of the Demon is going to be part of that, is it?
Yeah, that's the sort of first track on the album. The actual album, I think so far it's going to be called Demons Turn Demons, but the second spelling is different, so of the word demon. So it's kind of a concepty thing, but I don't want to go too heavy into it because it's not it's not kind of finished yet, but it will be soon. So
wouldn't it be fantastic if you got some gigs together and you actually soundtracked a screening of Night of the Demon? Have you ever thought of that?
Oh, I've thought of that a lot. Yeah, I've thought of putting loads of different compilations of like my favorite horror movies when I'm playing live and stuff. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I would like to do that. Like a bit of like what Hawkwind used to do and stuff with their sort of the quick projection stuff and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're getting the kind of the audio sonics and the visuals as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. That'd be cool.
Right, Larry, thanks very much for talking to us. It's been great to chat to you today, and we'll really stay in touch with you in regards to forthcoming music. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some gigs as well. Do you want to introduce this next track then, as we say goodbye?
Oh, well, yeah, it's just Night of the Demon off the upcoming album, and you'll probably be able to find it on SoundCloud pretty soon, and thanks for the opportunity, man. I really appreciate it.
Big thanks to Larry from Larry&Creature for chatting to me earlier on in the week. For regular listeners, we're massive fans of the likes of Rocky Erickson, who we played at the top of the show, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats alongside Ty Segall, and Larry&Creature fit right in with that lot. Who would have known he lived just around the corner in Scunthorpe? That was Night of the Demon. That is from a forthcoming album, brand new from him, and we also heard The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Go and check out his SoundCloud page. Larry&Creature. Stay in touch, Larry. Great to talk to you.